there's a lot of lessons to be learned in life. Um, some of them is don't do certain things without a buddy. Apparently, that happens to extend to podcasting. Um, yeah, I just recorded 10 minutes with the mute button on. And because I didn't have anyone else in studio with me at the time, nobody was waving their arms saying, no, stop, nobody can hear you, which also probably gives me a not so great sign as to who was actually listening to the podcast. But look, mistakes were made, lessons were learned, and now we're being safer about this. So I have my podcasting buddy and Bill, who's going to make sure I don't do anything else wildly stupid unless it involves trades. And we're going to go through what happened in the last week and talk about some trades. The theme I was going with when nobody could hear me was the random acts that happened in this league because, there were teams that were saying they were selling off who went 2-0 and teams that were pushing to go in who went 0-2. You had teams in position to be in the wild card who are selling, and you have teams who, again, may not have any wins yet buying. So, look, the league's great because it's random. The league's great because people are having fun and people are being active in whatever way that seems to suit them. But we're just going to take two here and make sure we don't make some of the same mistakes we made in the past, but make sure we're having fun. Right, Bill?
Let's do it.
Oh, my God. Whew. All right. I was all worried I was going to do this by myself. And then, anyways, I just had actually wrapped up going through all the results from last week. It was really awesome what I was recording, so it really sucks for you guys. You didn't get to hear any of it. I think the real upset of the week really was Lions picking up the win over the Giants by just over 2 points. Gets the extra win cushion for Commanders right now in the NFC East, and gives the Lions a commanding 4-game lead over the NFC North. Chargers continuing to do well at 4-2 in the AFC East is, I'd say, the big surprise of the AFC this week. And congratulations in order to the Buccaneers for picking up their first win, despite scoring over 600 points, which for those keeping score at home, it's more than anybody else in the AFC South. Undefeated teams, you have the Bengals, you have the Commanders, and you have the Seahawks. Defeated teams are the 49ers, the Colts, and the Broncos. Plenty of 1-5 teams still in the hunt for some of those early picks, and some of those have over 500 points. So really takes all kinds to be all over the place this year. Any major inputs you want to have, Bill, in terms of results from week 3?
I mean, nothing crazy, right? Like, I think if I'm looking at it right, I think the closest game is Lions-Giants. But I mean, overall, like everything kind of went according to plan. We almost had an upset with the Bucks over the Seahawks, but whatever happened there to keep that 5-point gap, didn't let it happen. But I mean, honestly, like I think the more surprising stuff is the stuff that happened out of the games, like with teams deciding to sell or try to keep pivoting in somewhat of a directionless path, it seems in some cases. But I don't know. The non-game situation seems to be more shocking than the game situations.
Yeah, I mean, some of it was just the results. It truly is who you played.
Mm-hmm.
Duh, no shit. Thanks, Vikings. Yeah, you really, weighing in with the hard-hitting analysis here. Who you play matters. But Titans got a win with 90 points, and Giants lost a game with 255. Like, this shit's crazy.
I mean, people that play me are basically on bye week, so I don't really see that as anything like wonderful. But it does mess up his whole plan to tank. I mean, what is that? Is that 2 wins for him or 1 win? That's 2 wins for him. Yeah, so he's way down the ladder now.
Oh, sorry. Got a trade offer. Had to look at it, and Oh God, that's bad.
Oh, Giants, I'm sorry. You got embarrassed.
No, I have to give the Giants credit. First off, I will make it a giant sandwich here. He did send me maybe the worst offer I've ever seen from him this week. However, his offer is not in the top 3 of the worst offers I've gotten this week.
Okay.
So he's got that going for him, which is nice. But sorry. I need to get some water to get that taste out of my mouth. Oof. Anyways, okay. Yeah. So people were playing you were basically on a bye week, but I was going through the breakdown earlier. The matchup between the West and I think it was the South this week, there were 3 teams of the 8 that scored under 100 points between you, the Colts, and the Titans, which just, like I said, was just a beautiful ballet of mediocrity from everybody involved. So just bravo for everybody there. But again, I do love how our league tries to reflect real life, and I have to wonder, like, what would happen if an NFL team actually tried to do what we're doing here? Like, the NFL equivalent of like what you're putting on the field is if you went out and hired replacement players. Like, if you tried to execute the plot of the replacements against real life non-striking NFL players, like that might be the closest thing to what you're doing right now. And like the overarching expectation is somebody who takes part in that probably would get hurt. So,
oh yeah. Every player would get fired and never play another down, and every coach and GM would never get a job again.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I do enjoy the attempt at realism in our league, but man, I think at some point we need to think about, and this is on the this is either on the thoughts of the commissioners, or I'm going to add it, but thinking about what penalties could be for teams who are losing on purpose. Like, teams aren't bad on purpose in the NFL because if you do, your fans throw you out, your coach gets fired, you get fired as a GM. We're being called NFL GMs. We're not being called NFL owners or NFL matchers or matchers, stuff like that. We're it's implying that we're the GMs of our teams.
Yeah.
So I don't think anybody should be forced to lose their franchise. I'm not going as so far as that. But like some form of penalty is something definitely that we can consider for teams that are tanking. And again, obviously not going into effect this year. That would be unreasonable. But I think that's something that's on the if anyone has any good ideas.
I mean, honestly, like as a team that has tanked multiple times in the league, this one being my most extreme, I don't think a penalty is necessary. I think the league just needs to have a roster requirement of, you have to have, like we have what, 8 starters on each side, or is it 9, including the special teams?
I think it's 9 or 10.
9 and 11 or something like that. I don't
know.
Yeah, but like, let's just whatever. Like, you have to have, outside of quarterback, because that's kind of hit and miss, especially with the depth we can have in the league. You should have to have a player that is one of the top 3 listed depth chart players. You have to have at least one at every position.
I mean, I think it's so MFL is not up to date on all of their team and player assignments to teams. Like, you have players on practice squads that are showing up as free agents.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're not up to date on that stuff, and it's MFL. There's too many players in the universe, and they're never going to be, somebody who gets that right.
Right.
But yeah, I think you have to have a rostered player at every position.
Like every team should be able to score 100 points a week, and maybe that's the cap. If you cannot score 100 points in a week, that's where the penalties kick in.
Yeah, and again, it's called competition committee. Who knows? But
Yeah.
either way, that's something to be thinking about for the off season. In terms of this week, we've got our last week of double headers. Let's see. I think we are finishing up the matchups against your interconference matchup. So for the East, we had the North, we have the East. For the South is against the West. So we're finishing those up, and I think we're hitting one of the same finishes. So I finished, I think, third in the NFC last year. So in the NFC North last year. So I have another third in the NFC North that I'm playing against. And I think it's those matchups starting this week.
I think so.
But anyways, let's see. Any games that I'm particularly looking forward to. You versus Bills is just going to be Bill versus Bills. But he has not committed as hard to the shtick as you have. So that'll go the way it goes. Dolphins Steelers will be interesting because the Dolphins is tanking, but he's also playing the Chargers. So is he going to go 0-2 or 1-1? Probably 0-2, but his team has been putting up some points across the board there. So with Chargers trying to move towards next year, that could be an opportunity for a fun and close game. Jets going up against the Bengals and the Steelers. If he's going to go undefeated, he's got to get through this week, and this is probably where it all comes crashing down. So the Pats gets the Raiders and the Ravens. By no means, easy wins. But if you're looking to push the Jets, you can pick up probably 2 games this week as he's playing the Chiefs and the Bengals. Let's see. Any others that really jump out?
Not for winning purposes, but Philadelphia, Chicago, Eagles, Bears, and then Cowboys, Packers is very interesting to me.
Yeah, I mean, Cowboys has been kind of on the fence of, is he going to, compete and try and get in the wild card, or is he going to try and rebuild? I don't think he's really made a decision yet. But yeah, I agree. And Jeremy has made some of the fringe moves. I think he's moved some bigger pieces, but he hasn't exactly cleaned house yet. Cowboys and Cardinals, I think, is going to be pretty important for the wild card. 4-2 Cardinals.
How did we forget this? Commanders Lions. Did you say that one by chance?
I hadn't gotten to that one yet. Commanders Lions right there, 5-1 versus 6-0. I agree. Eagles Bears will be interesting. Let's see. Then Packers gets the Panthers as well as the Cowboys. So tough games for both of his. Then looking at, and then I have the Saints and the Giants. So
1-1, maybe 0-2.
Maybe, yeah. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. The Bears Falcons is an interesting one for like terrible teams that we didn't expect to be terrible teams.
That's why we play the games. It's the Buccaneers are 1-5 despite 600 some points, and the Chargers are 4-2, and I think they might be in the 300s.
Yeah.
Oh no, 574. Samson, I was way off. The only one in the 300s are the teams that are trying to lose, like the Titans right now. But
Raiders Patriots may have implication down the line. They're both 3-3, and that might be one of the teams that gets the 7 seed.
Yeah, I mean the Patriots and Jets again could be tied at the top of the AFC East after this week. So I know the Pats is in the process of selling it all.
Right.
They've already made some swaps to do so, but who knows? that's kind of the highlight of the transactions since the last podcast. Is a lot of teams are selling things where it looks like they should be buying, or teams are buying things when you're just kind of like, why? What? Huh?
Right. Right. And then there are teams that are like, we've already won too many, so why are you bothering to sell off right now? Like, you're not going to get anywhere out of this. So it's interesting. This is I don't remember in recent years if there's been like such a decisive week 3 for teams to turn. And normally, I feel like normally they just wait until the double headers are over and then decide.
Well, it's, you know what? It's just fun. So let's go through it. Since the podcast, 30 trades. It's a pretty good week, guys. I gotta say. I'm just not going to talk about kicker trades or punter trades. You paid a fifth for it or 2/5. Good for you. I really don't care.
That's fine. I'm not worried about it.
So let's see. I give Panthers as quarterback, Drake May, Josh Dobbs, and dumping Kirk Cousins for Tua, Pat Bryant, Kalijah Cansey, James Pierce, and Upton Stout. Defense for offense, I know never a great thing, but continue to add promising rookies and guys on IR. So who knows? Maybe next year will be my year. And Tua has looked terrible, but just based off his contract, Miami's tied to him for the foreseeable future. So as long as he's not concussed, he's going to be putting up points for me. So my perfect quarterback right now.
I like this for you. Like I do. I know that Tua is not, the name anymore, and Drake May has more, substance, so to speak. But like, I mean, you got a quarterback for a quarterback plus a whole bunch of stuff, and you don't have to worry about Kirk Cousins in that annoying contract anymore. Like that's a win for you all the way around. I mean, Cansey's doing whatever he's doing right now, which is, sitting on IR. But so what? I mean, he's only 24 years old. He'll be back.
Yeah. Again, and May is getting better week after week, promising young guy, second year of that rookie contract. So cost controlled helps the Panthers. And look, he just immediately dumped Cousins for 4th on the Colts right after this. So, doesn't have to worry about that cap monster. So
too cheap.
Like going that contract goes beyond the retirement piece. So probably best done as a cut after that. But considering Kirk saw game action last week because of how badly Penix was performing, maybe he will have some value between now and the end of the year.
Penix did look pretty bad. Like I know it's only one game, and like Kirk has had plenty of bad games, but still, like it's definitely possible Kirk may play more. But even so, he's not playing for 4 more years, and that's so cheap. Gross. Yeah.
Well, anyway. Speaking of gross, you swap punters. I don't care.
Yep, that's fine.
I traded Pickens for Braswell and Texans. It was a great idea at the time, and then, of course, CeeDee Lamb gets hurt, and Pickens takes over wide receiver 1 in Dallas for the near term, which is not awesome for me. But
I'm not going to lie, though. I still like your side better. Like, Braswell's whatever it is. Like, he seems to be totally pointless in Tampa right now, but I don't know how to feel about Pickens at this point. Like, he's had the exact same stat line basically for 2 weeks, 5 for 68 and 1 on 9 targets, which is weird. but I don't know. This feels weird, and I don't know what to make of it. But I like this better for you to get rid of him than to keep him.
Yeah, well, Braswell hasn't done much yet, but he was an early second-round pick in our league and is getting snaps. Just is blocked right now by other players there. Yaya and Reddick are in front of him. So we'll likely need an injury to see significant points this year. But, like I said, developing my defense for next year. Um, Kicker swap, reverse kicker swap, dump of a running back, punter swap. First round pick swap. I traded my first and Ricky White as a contract dump to the Colts for Jonah Lalu and the Chargers first.
What do you see? What do you see in Lalu that made that top 10 pick worth moving?
I saw it as maybe I was moving 7 for 9, somewhere in there. Like I wasn't expecting Chargers
to have 2 more wins.
So again, I looked at the Chargers schedule for the remainder of the year, and give me a second to pull that up.
Yep, he's got me and Colts. That's as far as I know about his wins.
And again, he doesn't have a whole lot more of those on his schedule.
Right. He probably ends with 6, maybe 7 wins total.
Right. So he's got Miami this week and the Colts. So those will be 2 more. So he gets those, that'll get him to 6 wins probably. Then he's got the Texans, he's got the Commanders, he's got the Raiders, he's got the Cowboys, he's got the Chiefs, he's got the Giants, he's got the Eagles, he's got me, and he's got you. So he's got 4 wins right now. He probably gets to 7. When I look at mine, I'm thinking I end up probably around the 5 or 6 range. So I think that probably pushes me into the late top 10, maybe just outside of it. Okay. And then he's going to be a couple picks beyond that. So
okay.
It was a bit of an arbitrage, a bit of a risk. Again, if things go sideways for me, it's a huge win for him.
Yeah.
But I also thought, hey, if I have the Chargers first and he's thinking about next year, because that's what kind of the thesis has been for him, I feel like the entire time.
Yeah.
Trade it back to him, give him a little bit more control, or if he wants to cycle it again and pick up another piece, he has the ability to do that. So kind of a win-win there. But what I see about Lalu is that defense needs, someone in the middle to really be pushing the pocket, and you're getting enough pressure off the edges that, especially with Max and others that are rotating there, that there's always going to be cheap sacks that happen for whoever is playing D tackle. So, getting some good performances this year. I think Carroll's going to focus on that defense there. He's going to want to turn that into a running game and strong defense like he does everywhere. So I think being able to lock him down, considering second contract D tackles usually go for twice that. If I hang on to him, he's, kind of late second, early third type value with a contract, but worth kind of nothing without a contract. So trying to manufacture value where I can using my extensions.
Yeah. Fair enough.
So again, not anything wildly insightful there, but
no, I mean it explains the logic. Just because, like, looking at the records now, it's like, what is this? What?
Yeah, I mean, because again, I went 0-2 last week, where I was expecting I was probably going to win a game.
Yeah.
And he went 2-0, where he was probably expecting to split.
Yeah.
So the things are getting further apart, but I expect it to flip the other direction in terms of matchup strength in the next couple of weeks.
Fair enough.
Anyways, Ravens and Pats swapping defensive pieces, and Tutu Atwell. Pats moving a lot of pieces that are looking like they're either underperforming or on IR for pieces that are scoring. So, again, Ravens thinking about not necessarily hanging it up, but reloading. Picking up a couple pieces like McFadden, who's on IR, to do that. I don't know. I think valuable pieces like Turner and Sweat change hands on both sides. Darius Robinson was, I think, a first-round pick actually in the NFL. So there's some value there, but on both sides. And Logan Wilson, gets a lot of snaps in the Cincinnati backfield as a linebacker. So
the only part about this that angers me is that Pats did not extend Kobe Turner. And if he does not trade him before the deadline again, we're going to have a $40 million D tackle again in the free agency. I mean, he might tag him, whatever, but like, why did you not? Why was there no extension done on this? I don't understand.
Well, I'll just happen to be the team that has a bunch of 5th-round tackles who are scoring, or trade extended D tackles. I'll end up with Kobe Turner from him, so I'll send him an offer after this.
Right on.
I know you won't. You won't. Step up to that.
Oh no! If he was on IR, I would do it.
Yeah, I know you would. Anyways, we've got kicker swap. Cardinals using the 5th to dump Jaleel McLaughlin and Raheem Mostert. Wow, $41 million in cap space.
It's kind of crazy.
With a 5th. Again, it's just this year, but still, wow.
It's a lot of room. Yeah.
Good for you, Cards. Talk about opening things up for future opportunities. Then we've got buckle your seatbelts here. 5 of the next 6 trades we're covering involve the Packers.
Oh my God.
And I know to quote Captain America, I actually know some of these teams, know some of these players, and only some of them. Cordell Flott and Dante Jackson for Antoine Powell-Rowland, a 4th and a 5th. Buccaneers trading Darius Davis, who I think picked up off Taxi, CJ West, who I think he picked up off Wire, and a 4th for Kalen Bullock. Packers giving up Joey Bosa to the Commanders for Isaac Tesla. That's a surprise.
Yeah, that's shocking.
Commanders adding DNs, dear Lord. Packers giving up McNichols to the Chiefs for Gabe Davis and a 4th. Jaden Reed and a 3rd for Chuba Hubbard. TJ Hawkinson and Devin Bush for KDOT and Oren Bucks. The Bengals 3rd and the Bears 27 first. It drives me nuts when teams do this. Like, if you're a middling team and you're going to move your future first, please do it for a premium asset at a premium position. Doing it for a tight end and a linebacker when you're not a tight end and a linebacker away drives me nuts. I get that the Hawkinson is worth the valuation, no question in my mind. But like, we are not NBA. This is not 2K. This is not trade calculator only. This is like, do things at the right time. And this, I don't think, was the time for the Bears to give up his 1st or the thing I would want to get back for it. I get that it's probably the right value as in what's the trade calculator, but oof.
Yeah, this one's a little rough. I mean, I can understand like trying to go for it, and Hawkinson looks good now that he's back, and Otten played 66 snaps or 66% of the snaps this week and didn't get a single target, and that's concerning. I get all that, but like this was done before that stuff happened. But I don't know. This is rough timing. But Bears likes his players, so maybe this is another one of those players that Bears likes.
Right.
I will say this, though. I can't help but think that if Chris was still around, Hawkinson would have ended up as a Bengal.
Well, I mean, it was fun to watch between Aaron Jones and Justin Jefferson and TJ Hawkinson, the sheer amount of Viking consolidation on the Packers for a while. Obviously, that is started its exodus, but again, either way. But good on Jeremy for continuing to pick up assets as he breaks things down.
Yes.
Malik Heath in a 5th for 4th. Giants flipping the newly acquired Chuba Hubbard, Michael Wilson, and the Raiders 27 first for Matt Stafford and Breece Hall. This is one of those where when I went on name value, I was just I went full Cobra and I'm like, what the actual fuck is happening here?
Yeah.
But then I look at what Chuba's been scoring against what Breece Hall's been scoring. And then it looks like a windfall for the Rams because Hubbard is crushing Breece in terms of just points right now.
Yeah.
He's on a much cheaper contract at $4 million for those points. Michael Wilson is kind of the only guy catching things that are thrown to him in Arizona, and he picks up a future first for Matt Stafford.
Yeah.
At first I saw this, I'm like, holy shit. But that I think, was a great deal for Rams.
Yeah, I will say this. Giants is paying a lot for potentially just 1 year of Matt Stafford because there's a not so slim chance that dude retires. I don't know. I mean, I like it generally, but it's a little risky for the price he paid. So he's clearly all in. I just hope it works for him.
Yeah. All right, moving along. Amari DeMarcado and a fifth for Javonte Jean-Baptiste. I have to assume with the James Conner injury, DeMarcado is the new RB2 in Arizona. But again, this is Friday, so not really known at the time.
Yeah, Trey Benson should have the lead role, and DeMarcado should back him up. But I have a feeling DeMarcado is going to play a lot more than Chiefs might expect him to. He played quite a bit last year whenever Conner went down because Benson sucked.
My continued quest to have 6 or 7 startable receivers continues. DJ Johnson, Nakobe Dean, Jalen Ford, Jake Hummel, and the Texans first and the Chargers first for BTJ and Ellis. BTJ is in the throes of a terrible sophomore slump that I truly hope he can pull himself out of. And Ellis gives me linebacker points this year versus where Dean I love as a player, but I'm concerned considering the investment made in the division, in the position for the Eagles. I think Dean is definitely wildly talented and worth starting in Philadelphia. I wonder if he's going to get shifted to a different linebacking spot from really where he was so successful last year, or if he's going to be out of Philly altogether.
Yeah, I don't really know. I don't know. I feel like they'll give him a shot because they always give their guys a shot, but I don't know. I'm more interested in how BTJ ends up because he is just having the worst case of I don't give a fuck season I've ever seen out of a wide receiver of his caliber. It's kind of incredible.
Yeah, most definitely. Let's see. Giants flipping Matt Stafford, as I think everyone knew he was going to, getting Kwity Paye and a 4th-round pick to send him to Bears. So Kwity comes back to the Giants. He takes that 4th-round pick and goes against DJ Reed from the Chiefs in an attempt to try and get him the win over Lions last week. Unfortunately, that didn't quite work for him. And then we get into this week where DeMarcado goes from the Colts to the Chiefs, the land of the backup running backs for Jeremy Ruckert and a 4th. As soon as Bosa hits the IR, the former Buckeye goes to the Patriots for Myles Garrett. I was thinking about something like this, where it's what would be the level of DN that would go back for Bosa in a swap? I didn't think it was this, but I was having trouble drawing where that line would be in terms of DN performance.
I mean, Miles has had some splash weeks, obviously, but Bosa's up there with them, man. Like statistically and like league points wise, like he's worth it. I don't know that name wise I would have expected this either, but it it makes sense whenever you see it and like look at the numbers in it.
Yep. All right. Sorry, there was a commish post, so I had to go do my job, although Jeremy beat me to it. Another surprising one, which, again, great move by Cards picking up a younger, longer-term quarterback, given his first and second this year and a first next year with Kenny Pickett and Russ Wilson to get Mac Jones and Brock Purdy from the Eagles. Look, I think it's a good deal for him to kind of have Purdy under control. He's got a really nice young offense with Purdy at quarterback and a lot of really productive young players as rookies throughout the rest of his offense. So even if things fall through this year, he's got quite a few wins under his belt, so he shouldn't be too high of a pick even if he misses the playoffs. But then he's got Genty, he's got Judkins, he's got Ibuka, he's got Hunter, he's got a couple of the rookie tight ends. He's got a really great core to start from in terms of building from there. So locking down Purdy's a nice one, and he could end up with bonus in Mac Jones. He's on a 3-year deal for less than $2 million, which if he goes the Sam Darnold route, which is completely possible. I mean, the man led a fourth quarter touchdown drive against the Cardinals, who were 2-0 coming into this week. Not a touchdown, but a field goal, but game-winning drive. Like, he's getting some bona fides here. He is going to probably go to another team at the end of this year and get a chance to start. That's just how it works. So get a nice twofer for that. Cards, go ahead.
No, this is legit. Like this is what kind of return you should get for moving starting quarterbacks and acquiring horrible contracts like Russell Wilson. Like, it's not the Kirk Cousins level, but like I don't know. Without it, is Purdy and Jones worth 2 1s and a 2? I don't know that I would agree with that, but that Russell contract, that is not great either.
Yeah. Going into this next deal, this was a fun one. Cardinals making a lot of low key, sly deals to pick up points that on the surface it's like, what are you doing? But Kyle Williams, highly touted wide receiver, was a first-round pick in this year's draft. He and a fourth-round pick get flipped to the Chargers for Malik Washington in a third. And at first it's like, huh? You traded a guy you took in the first round this year with a fourth for Malik Washington in a third? And then you look at Malik Washington, he's got 36 points.
Yeah.
37 points. And a lot of it is coming from special teams. So, look, these guys, that's scoring. I haven't looked at the rankings. I got to think that's probably a top 50 at least wide receiver, if not top 30 in the league right now. Nice way of swapping draft capital for production and doing it in a way that, Malik, I think, is only a second-year player too. So, nice little pickup there. And then Colts swapping safeties to pick up a fifth.
Yeah. Colts is whatever. That one's not worth talking about. But the Kyle Williams, man, like, it's crazy that he lost his job to Booty. Like, it's crazy. Like, this is great for Cardinals to get this. Like, he got the better player and the better pick. I mean, Chargers is doing his thing. I'll let him do whatever he's doing. And if he likes Kyle Williams better, that's fine. If you believers, whatever. But I don't know, man. He lost his job to fucking Booty. Like, that's not good.
Yep. Well, I mean, it's. I forget where I saw this stat this offseason, and Booty qualifies for this too. So, you can't really kill the Pats for this. Like it was something like the most successful Pats receivers from the draft in history. Like the rankings of it was just awful. Like the most successful Pats receiver has 800 yards total.
Oh, really?
A receiver they drafted.
Wow. Okay.
I am referring to it, and if somebody can think of it, or somebody has seen it, or somebody knows what I'm talking about, awesome, share it, please. But it was showing just like, hey, the Pats are just maniacal at doing this, where here's this highly touted receiver that they take with draft capital, and everyone gets really excited because there's opportunity, and then literally nothing comes from them. It's the N'Keal Harrys. It was Booty before this year. It's Tyquan Thornton. It's all these guys that everyone looks at and says, wow, this guy's going to be freaking awesome. And then nothing happens. So I was a little worried about that with Kyle Williams, but he just may take a little longer to end up into that role. And I think, frankly, they're trying to build out that receiving core very similar to how the Bills have their receiving core now, where it's like, hey, we've got a bunch of different ways to attack you with a bunch of different receivers. We don't really have a number one guy or a guy we're going to pay like a number one, but, you can't just key on one person, and that's not a play on words for Keon.
Right.
It's, sometimes it's Coleman, sometimes it's Shakir, sometimes it's one of the tight ends. They tried it with the, singular wide receiver one that was the target vacuum. That wasn't working. So then they traded that away and went this way, and it's working well for Josh Allen. I know a lot of people try to compare Drake to Josh. So it doesn't surprise me. The Pats are trying to do the same thing.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's gonna be interesting to watch how this plays out between them, because Malik has the benefit because of the punt returning. So we'll see how that continues to go.
Yep. Wow, 4 people in the lobby watching us live right now. So appreciate you guys tuning in and keeping me honest after I tried to just talk to myself for an hour, which I have no problem doing. But if I'm gonna call it a podcast, I have to at least make sure the microphone is on. I don't know, like it's kind of straightforward here. I think at this point I feel like we're on that precipice again of a bunch of trades just breaking free in the next 24 hours. It's just people need to make the deals to open up the years, to cycle enough pieces. We keep talking about it, at least in some of the private chats I've had, but the no trade back rule is something that probably Jeremy and I have to take a look at this offseason. I know we obviously can't be the first person to trade it back to that team, but I think there's maybe another way we can do this where it's kind of obvious, like, hey, we're not trading cap space for stuff. Where it's like, hey, you can't trade them back if a extension's been applied or something like that. Where this gets more flexible because, there's only a couple of teams that like certain players. Like I would love to go trade for Daniel Jones right now. I think he's the kind of quarterback that I would really appreciate to have on my team. Well, Mike, you had him on your team before. Yeah, right. I get it. But, it's me we're talking about here. Like I go through different phases of what I'm looking for on my team here. Sometimes it's that youth player to build around. Sometimes those transition out, and I'm looking for what's the cheapest viable option at the position. And I said it before the season, Daniel Jones was kind of that guy I was looking at as my cheapest viable option at quarterback. And, well, shit, that was a pretty great call if I actually, held to it. But nonetheless, something that we just got to think about. So I've had a couple of things we brought up. I know we've got the running list for the commissions. So if there's other stuff you guys have or suggestions that you'd like to see us do to continue to make the league better, we're open to discussing it. No promises in terms of getting it adopted or anything like that. I think slow is good in this league because we've got something really great. And I think a lot of leagues will over rotate any which direction to, try and satisfy everybody, and then as a result lose the core of what made it special. So I don't want to do that, but I think there's some minor tweaks or some steps we can be taken to kind of maintain the spirit of things, but open up activity and flexibility for teams. Anyways, any closing thoughts? It's only 45 minutes to speak, but I gave an extra 10 minutes, so I'm calling it an hour. Counting it all, even if you guys couldn't hear those 10 minutes of top-notch podcastery that I was doing about recap of week 3. Look, it's not even going to be in an archive someplace. It's just going to be lost to the annals of history. But it's really your guys' loss.
Sounds like a good stopping point to me.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll crack things open for more of the trade talks. I assume that's really what the 3 or 4 people in the chat or the viewing want to do anyway. So we'll jump to that and see what happens and see if we can break some things loose. And again, as we talk about things next week, be shocked like, wow, 30 trades since last week. Maybe we'll get to 40 or 50. Who knows? We still have 24 hours before things lock. Could be crazy.